So let's dive into the one timeline. If you're like me, and if you're watching this video, you probably are. You've had an awakening moment. You had a moment where you awakened. Yeah, you had a spark of the divine. Once you have the awakening moment, what's happening here? But my first one was in 2012 in Egypt, of all places. I was there with some sound healing friends, and we were working with gateways, and I had an amazing moment of awakening. Just so beautiful. Yeah, just that like pure essence of the divine. Yeah, just spreading through me. It was so cool. It really changed me, you know. And when we have these moments of awakening, what's happening is once we have one, we are pulled into the one timeline. And it could have been, for some people, maybe 30 years ago. You know, it has been, the one timeline has been gaining strength. Every time a human enters into the one timeline, it feeds the one timeline, and the one timeline feeds it. When you enter into the one timeline is there to hold that vibration, to sustain that vibration. So we had a awakening moment, yeah, and we go, and our vibration of the body, the frequency of our body rises, and then we are instantly pulled into the one timeline where it's insulated so that we can sustain that new upgrade, yeah. And while we're holding that upgrade in the body, it starts to entrain the cellular structure of the body, and in turn entrain water molecules and hydrogen bonds around the DNA, and that instantly activates that junk DNA. Yeah, and so we were created for this moment, literally created for this moment. This is our purpose. The human race has a purpose, and it is to wake up now. We were created from many different celestial beings, yeah, recreated and recreated for this moment, and there's a reason for that. Yeah, so it's not out of our true nature. It is literally coming into what we were created for. The issue is when we go into and have an awakening moment and go into the one timeline, we are still holding a lot of the patterns that were created in the separation paradigm, the I am not safe paradigm. And that's in our body. And because we are taking our body into this new paradigm, into the truth paradigm, we will need to resolve all the fear-based belief systems or beliefs that we have, all the patterns that were created from trauma, and even family lineage patterns. There's a lot of different patterns. They're all vibrational, and so this creates an emotional reaction. So when we have one of these awakening moments, we have an emotional reaction because those patterns are connected to the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, right? Fight or flight or freeze. And the cool thing about all this is when the beauty of how incredibly intelligent the body is, and the divine for creating us the way that it has created us, is that the body has the parasympathetic nervous system too. So the parasympathetic nervous system is also activated at the same time to counteract much of what is happening. But we can feel discombobulated, feel confused, we can feel angry and fear, we can feel sad and grief because part of us is dying. So we're going through that death cycle, yeah. So the one timeline, though, is really pulling us towards the new paradigm. And as we journey towards the new paradigm, we go through more awakenings, more sparks of awakening moments. And if we have been practicing and becoming aware, and just all throughout our time of this awakening process, is becoming the witness, really responding to what our body is telling us. The triggers that are propping up, the people that are coming in to trigger us, are all part of the plan. It's just showing us, that which needs to be resolved. And so if we react, it's like trying to swim upstream, It creates dissonance in the body. It can create scarcity thoughts. It can really slow down the process, but the process will not be stopped. So this is one of the things I wanted to talk about today is we will need to learn new skills. That process of jumping timelines can also be disruptive to the life that we're living, Because when we evolve like 500 years in like one day, we're not going to perceive our reality the same anymore. Things are going to be different. The way we look at our reality, the way we interact with our reality, the way we create our reality changes. Just knowing that that's happening really helps. Finding the language for what's happening I think has been the biggest hurdle for me, just to know what's happening to me. And so I've been like spending years and years writing and allowing my future self to come through me and give me information that would help with the language of what all of us are going through. It's not just me, it's all of us one way or another, and how we're responding or reacting to these changes sets us apart, okay? But it is a natural process and it is incremental, And what's been happening to me, and I think others too, is that when we become the witness, when we start to realize that there's a pattern here, there's these ascension waves that are happening, we can prepare ourselves. There literally is these echoes of that, like before we have an awakening moment, before there's an ascension wave that is coming, probably, for many humans at one time, because we are all in alignment, there is definitely different groups of people awakening at the same time. For that reason, we can start to feel into these waves, anticipating the big wave, the big awakening, almost like surfing. You start to see some waves coming in, a set, right? It's like that. It's like a reverberation or echo, right? You start to feel it in your body. And you start to recognize it, right? And when you recognize it and it's coming in, you can start to prepare yourself for the awakening moment. Instead of just like smacking you upside the head, it's like, oh, wow, it's coming. And then you can go into, and what I do is I go into neutrality, All the patterns that want to resolve, all the triggers that are coming from within that moment. And I'm just noticing it, I'm noticing when they happen, and these memories can be from like childhood. They can be, literally showing you the origin seed of a separation paradigm that wants to be resolved, because these patterns hold heavier or lower frequencies that keep us from evolving. So learning to go into neutrality, following your breath, don't change the breath, just following your breath, and just noticing what is arising from your body. It could be fear, it could be grief, yeah, because part of you is dying. And so as the vibration in our body begins to rise and we are really fully in the one timeline now, and like I said, we are being protected. So there's nothing to be afraid of anymore. Yeah, and that's part of the one timeline. You start to get comfortable taking these leaps. You start to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah, and what starts to emerge is a new purpose. Yeah, now this purpose is at a much higher frequency or vibration than anything that you thought you could ever do. And this is where like trust and taking leaps into the unknown comes into, like learning how to do that. Yeah. And we can practice that by just talking to strangers that we wouldn't normally talk to, by speaking our truth to someone who we don't think would believe us. And if they don't, that's okay, because it's really just making us stronger. Yeah. So the purpose starts to arise, and that purpose is connected to the new paradigm, to the truth paradigm. Yeah. And so the discombobulation, the confusion, the chaotic node starts to dissipate as we start to sink into and embody that new purpose, whatever that purpose is. It could be anything from motherhood to creating a new technology, to taking care of folks, to taking care of yourself. I don't know. I know my purpose was to start writing and talking about all of this. That's my purpose. And helping those in need. And I really, truly love doing that kind of work. Yeah, so when that purpose starts to rise up, when we go through one of those big awakening moments, we have that purpose to ground us and anchor us. Yeah. And because we have been going through these moments, these vibrational upgrades, we begin to just become skilled at riding the waves, of becoming the witness, of coming into neutrality. It's like, oh, I have a purpose. I have to go through all this stuff. Otherwise, I won't be able to complete the purpose, because it doesn't become part of me anymore. It's about the whole. Yeah. And part of the one timeline is we have to give up some of our free will. And this is a soul contract that we have all signed or agreed to. Right? We give up a little bit of our free will to be free. Yeah, it becomes like we have to work towards that purpose, whatever we're doing. Even if I have to take a job, it needs to be so that I'm learning something for the purpose that I'm moving towards. And that's the part of like the no going back. Yeah. Once we're in the one timeline, that's what happens. And so I did want to talk a little bit about soul groups and how that relates to this whole process. So there is a system for us to wake up the whole planet, all of humanity, all animals, everything. Everybody's getting an upgrade because the collective is shifting into a higher frequency. So everything on the planet is shifting into a higher frequency too. But humans are unique, that they have been literally created to wake up. Yeah, this is our purpose. We wonder, like, what is our purpose? Why are we here? We are here to wake up in this body. This body is created to wake up. Now, we are part of a soul family. Each one of us has a soul family that is distinct and different from our family lineage here on Earth. Yeah, and so our soul family determines when we wake up. And once all the soul family is in this one timeline, that creates another awakening moment for that soul group and for everyone in the one timeline. And it's felt, the reverberations are felt in the collective, which starts to bring more people towards the one timeline, towards that frequency. And so the next group that is pulled in is just a little bit larger, yeah? And so if I am in the one timeline, and I have met some other folks who are in my soul group, and this is just through my inner knowing, and I have come across them out in the real world, and through just through interaction, through talking with them, I am bringing them closer to the one timeline. That's part of my purpose now. Once you're in the one timeline, the other purpose is that you're bringing the rest of your soul group in, yeah. Because in this soul groups, the participants of one soul group could be all over the planet. It's really just all orchestrated through the universal mind, through the divine. Of course, I can't know all of it. And I didn't know any of this until I was really probably 5 or 6 years into the one timeline already, into that frequency. And then some of this information started coming through me. Mostly because what happens in the one timeline, real quick, just a step aside here, is that once we reach a certain vibration, we become one with the past and the future. So we can start accessing the future. We can even look at the past and start resolving and healing the past from a place of neutrality. Yeah, this is like some of the really cool things that happen where our telepathic abilities begin to expand. The collective vibration of the planet and of all the people in the one timeline begins to strengthen, yeah? And we begin to embody these vibrations. It's one thing to talk about all this stuff. It's another thing to embody the vibration of this awakening, yeah? There needs to be a full integration, disembodiment, reconfiguration of the body so it can hold and sustain these higher vibrations, yeah. And lots of things can happen too while you're going through. You can gain weight, yeah. You can lose weight. You can be without a job for a year because you can't work anymore, or there's so many different symptoms of awakening, yeah. So everybody is different, but for the most part, it's basically the same. You are dismantling belief systems. You're dismantling reactions in the body. You're creating heart-mind coherence now. You are activating neuroplasticity. You're allowing for new neural pathways to be birthed. And really it is like a birth, like we're birthing something. It's really quite beautiful. And we're getting there. And more information is coming to explain what is happening to us. And why this is important, why I'm making this video, is so the unknown isn't really the unknown anymore. We know what's happening to us. Yeah? We just have to take that step. And some of the practices I described here, going into neutrality, yeah? Becoming the witness. Yeah? Taking leaps towards our purpose. Knowing that we are safe and it's okay to take these leaps, that we will be held. Yeah, that we'll be held. And what I have noticed too, this is cool, and I'm going to end it pretty much here, I think, is when you have your first awakening or your second awakening, it seems like the universal divine mind is looking out for you. So if you just had an awakening moment and you're like new to this, and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, you can be sure that you'll receive money, you will receive synchronicities, you will be supported more than you can possibly imagine. I noticed this happening to me as I was first awakening. Like, it was like, whoa, like free money every. I couldn't even work because I was so completely like just immersed in like reconfiguration. Like, just I was like, whoa, what is happening? And like, I was receiving lots of gifts of money, and really cool synchronicities were happening when I really felt completely held. So while you're going through the death process, and while you're going through these first awakening moments, just know that like the increase of synchronicities is there. As we begin to awaken to a higher frequency, we are asked to be more responsible, and we are asked to take greater risk and more action. I hope this video finds you well. And also, take what resonates. This is a conversation. It's all it is. I'm not, my truth isn't always everyone else's truth, but I think that you'll find lines of your truth to my truth, because the truth is the truth. All right. Bless you. Take care.